So I'm willing to bet that you didn't realize it's National Mentoring Month. Well, we're taking the opportunity to invite 3 people into our studio who are professional mentors and life coaches, though they all do other things as well.
That's right. We have in our studio today John Alerte, the CEO of the public relations and management firm Alerte, Carter and Associates, and by the way, he is the owner of Brooklyn Swirl Ice Cream. So I guess a little bit of competition for Ample Hills coming up. And Mia Hall. So first, thank you, John, for being here with us. We appreciate having you. And then we have Mia Hall, who's a sports reporter and blogger, and she is the community affairs manager for Barclays Center. So thank you, Mia, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And Pervis Taylor is a speaker and author of Pervis Principles, Volume 1. So we extend our welcome to you as well.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, first I want to get to this ice cream thing. How is business right about now when it's 9 degrees out?
Frozen yogurt.
Frozen yogurt, okay.
Yeah, but it's been doing well. You know, we've been surviving, doing a lot of deliveries.
Gotcha, and you have a few other titles in there. Just tell us some of the other things that you do.
I'm an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old. I'm an author. My first book, Do Right, Do Good, and I mentor the youth.
Wow, okay, and so we mentioned for you that you are a sports reporter and blogger. Just tell our viewers where they can see some of your writings and some of your things that you're doing.
Yes, so my blog is called Mia's Full Court Press, and it's at miahall.net, and I also write for Black Enterprise Online and Slam Magazine.
Okay, so quite a few portals that they can find you.
Yeah.
And then you, Pervis, tell us about you.
Well, I'm a life coach, author, speaker. I do some occasional print modeling and acting, but that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
This is a good-looking
So I
crowd.
assume you're staying away from his ice cream there, as it were. But you know, I just want to jump in. It is National Mentoring Month.
Yes.
And I just want to start with life coach. Now, I know we have heard that quite a bit over the last couple of years. It's sort of a trending phrase and or job occupation. Tell us exactly what is involved in that.
Well, I'm kind of like a personal coach. Like, I kind of help you facilitate and walk you through the process. So if you have a goal, I'm there with you through each step. We come up with the steps together, the plan together, and I'm there with you as you execute the plan. So whether it be with a teenager or if it's an 80-year-old person, I'm with you through the process. So that really is the difference between a life coach and like a therapist, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then motivational speaking. Tell us a little bit about how what you do ties into National Mentoring Month.
Well, for myself, I've been speaking at schools since I was 18 years old. And the reason why I started doing it is because I was a straight A student. I went to Deer Park High School in Long Island. And when I graduated school, I saw the real world hit me. So I went back to school and asked my teachers to bring me and give me the opportunity to speak to the new seniors. And it started from there. And I was a banker. My career was growing. I kept going back to different schools and getting referrals to go speak in more schools and more schools. Eventually, I started speaking in colleges, universities. And in 2012, I published my first book with these principles that I've been speaking about for the past 10 years.
Can we see the book?
Yes, it's Do Right, Do Good.
Nice. And Mia, what about you? What was that moment where you knew that you wanted to be a motivational speaker, that you had that connection?
Well, really growing up, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and when I was 16, I was a part of an after-school program called Power Play NYC, and their main goal was to educate and empower girls through sports. So they always had us, speaking to different women in sports and, women of color in sports as well, and I never saw that before. So many women that talked to me, helped me to like dream big, take my education seriously, and for many years, or through high school, through college, and even graduate school, that made me want to give back. Like, I knew it was because of those, the women that I met through that program and that mentored me that made me want to give back and motivational speak. So from my first year in college, I've been going back to Power Play NYC and going to speaking to the young girls there and mentoring some of them from those speeches. So I always tell them, like, if you meet somebody that you're interested in doing what they do, then, ask them for their number, ask them for their email address after, and stay in touch. And I've had several young women do that with me. So I'm just glad to give back.
For the groups that all three of you speak to, what are some of the challenges that they're facing that kind of makes it harder for them to even reach the level that you three have made?
Well,
I mean, first, you know, fatherless sons and just not knowing that there's greatness inside of them. Just begin with them themselves, like not knowing that there's something better for them. And I think that each of us, we speak to that greatness and that potential. And I think with mentoring, it all begins with seeing that there's greatness inside the mentee and just bringing that out. So I think I could speak for all of us in saying that I think it all begins there.
You guys all have a connection too,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What is it?
Yes, we all are members of Christian Cultural Center with Pastor A.R. Bernard.
Yeah.
And, you know, so.
Well, that's your first starting point, right?
Yeah, that's our first.
And end with all three of you.
Yes.
And we all have a passion for mentoring the youth and reinvesting into the community, and you know, because they are our futures. So, and we understand that at a young age, you know, and.
I think one of the big parts of like what our youth are faced with and challenged with, and Dr. Bernard kind of ties into this, is exposure. Like when I was growing up, like I said, 16, I was an athlete, and I wanted to grow up and be a WNBA player because that's all I was exposed to. Like I, you know, saw on TV, you can be a singer, you know, you can be a, you know, an athlete. So that's all I was exposed to. But when I went to these programs, they brought me into Sports Illustrated for women. It's no longer exists, but you know, to the New York Knicks, you know, organizations where women were in positions of power, vice president, you know, of operations. You know, I was like, I've never seen that before. So the exposure that brought me, you know, I think that it does the same thing for our youth. They just see what's around them. They might not even ever travel out of Brooklyn. So, you know, we bring them to different places, bring them to Manhattan, and show them different things. Now, Dr. Bernard, he announced a scholarship. Like before I went to my senior year of college, he announced that the church was supporting the Harvey Fellowship. And in order to apply, you had to be applying to one of the top schools in your major. So before that, I was thinking of, you know, going to, you know, regular school to study education for my master's. But after hearing about the scholarship from him, I said, you know, well, let me look into the Ivy League schools. I never thought about it before because I thought it was too much money and too hard to get into. But after that, I looked into the schools, and, you know, I was like, me and my dad were laughing about it after church, like, ha, 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 what if you went to like Yale or Princeton or whatever? And it was like, yeah, that would be so funny or whatever. But I looked into the schools. I looked into Harvard last because I thought it would be the hardest to get into. But, you know, I looked at the programs and I fell in love. And I applied for the school, prayed about it, and 4 months later I got in.
And then it became Harvard?
Yes.
Okay.
Bravo, bravo.
Now, what do you see as sort of the fruits of your labor? What are the rewards that you get back? How do you see it working in the groups that you're talking to?
Well, I personally coach a group of young ladies that are in a jail alternative program through SEO Family Services on a weekly basis. And I teach them about processing your emotions and taking time to say, you know what, I'm having a moment, instead of reacting, responding to certain situations. And now, you know, sometimes I'm with the girls and they'll say, you know what, I just need a moment. And for me, that's a breakthrough, because these are girls who would be in Rikers right now if they weren't going through that jail alternative, if they weren't through that program. So just to see them applying the stuff that, you know, I talk about in Purpose Principles Volume 2 to their lives is like the biggest reward for me, beyond just like, you know, the accolades or any of those things.
Let's take a look. We have a PSA from National Mentoring Month. Let's take a little look at mentoring in action.
I started mentoring my mentee, Dantre, 4 years ago. I always thought about doing it. It always seemed like a good idea.
We were both nervous when we first met, but everything kind of fell into place.
Mentoring is important to anyone that's pretty fortunate in life to have a little bit of time to pass on that knowledge.
Etienne's a very close friend. I look at him as a brother and a father figure. He taught me just focus on the big picture, because I would like to give back just like Etienne gave back to me. Be someone who matters to someone who matters.
Jean, do you have a story of mentoring in action at work at that moment where you realize that what you've done has worked?
Well, yes, definitely. There's a student actually named Melissa Reyes. She was part of this program called OBT, Opportunities for Better Tomorrow, in Bushwick. So I was speaking to these students about the principles, and she wanted to become a mentor, a mentee for me, you know, a mentee. And I said, okay, no problem. This was 3 years ago. Spoke to her, encouraged her to follow her dreams. She ended up being one of my workers, top workers at Brooklyn Swirl. She's in college now. She has her own place. And, you know, her life just totally went to the left. And she, you know, that's one of the biggest joys for me. There's another student named Christian. And he actually is a scholarship recipient, so we call them, instead of recipients, we call them scholars. And from Bushwick, parents, single mother household, mother's unable to work. He has 2 younger siblings that are disabled. He said there was no opportunity for him to go to college. He just finished his first semester at John Jay with a 3.6 GPA. And he has a internship at the Waldorf Astoria. Awesome. And this is the first time he's actually been to Manhattan. So to work at such a prestigious place is amazing for him. And this kid is amazing, amazing kid.
Must be such a good feeling.
Yes,
I have goosebumps just
absolutely. How long do you traditionally work with when you take on a mentee? How long do you serve as their mentor?
It's ongoing. Yeah, it's ongoing. For myself, I have a scholarship, like I said, Do Right, Do Good Scholarship Award. And we keep them for 4 years. Okay. So we start off at their freshman year, and we award them the monies every year to their school directly. But we also have their mentorship program, so we have a team of people working with them, going through the ups and the downs, pitfalls. So we stay with them for 4 years until they graduate. Yep.
Mia, I know that you had worked for the high school for sports management. How did you so you have a history of working with youth. How are you bringing that into your role at Barclays? What are you doing at Barclays to mentor youth?
Well, at Barclays, as part of my role there, I definitely go to different schools and speak to them about my journey. And also, so from the High School of Sport Management, I saw hundreds of students that come in every year, and they were just like me. They think that sports is all about being athletes, and so that has helped me to learn the market that I'm dealing with in our educational outreach and our educational programs. So now, as a part of my role there, I not only want to give just give out tickets to students, but I want them to come in, meet the executives. You know what I mean? See what it's like to work in the office for a day, do a shadow, do a program, and meet the executives face to face, so that they don't have this concept that you can only be LeBron James. Why not own a team or something like that? So that's what I do in my role.
That's important. Shadowing is extremely important.
It is.
I think that when we think about life coaching or motivational speaking, I don't have this image of, this distilling information into, core principles or beliefs.
Or mantras.
Right. Pervis, we should talk about your book a little bit. It's called Pervis's Principles.
Yeah, Pervis Principles, Volume 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. And so what are some of the ideas that are contained in the books that sort of augment your life coaching?
Well, the thing is that I've lived this. So it's my successes, my failures, things that I've gleaned from other people. So I wanted to put something, because we live in a soundbite world now, so I wanted to make something that was short and succinct and, could still be powerful and impacting. So the whole premise of me writing this is for the reader to not make the mistakes that I made, to become your best version of yourself. And that's my sincere hope.
Okay, so now you have both volumes 1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is this a recent printing of volume 2?
Volume 2 just came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just came out.
So what are some kind of basic things that the everyday person, not even a part of the youth community, what are some things that we can all kind of take away from this conversation about motivating ourselves and
create a routine.
Okay.
Create a routine. Write it down, let people know about your vision, and stick to it, and stay focused on it. And sometimes when you start to forget, because you have that routine, because you're doing it consistently daily, it starts becoming a habit, and that's what success is really. It's just doing something repetitively.
I would say commanding your week. Start off, words are powerful, and just say, look, I'm gonna, no matter what happens, I'm gonna get through this week. I'm gonna achieve the goals that I have listed. It's powerful when you really start to, this, I told my family, I was like, I'm gonna write a book. And they were like, okay, Pervis. And then we're on book 2. I'm spoken at Yale University. Just from writing that book, I've gone from a small town in Texas to speaking at Yale University. So, and it all began with me commanding my week and my life, saying that I was going to be great no matter what happens to me.
So it's not even your life, it's you start with your week, you start small,
you
right?
start
because
small.
it can feel really overwhelming
Yeah.
to say, okay, you know, in the next year I'm going to do this, or so it's really, I like that, you know, starting small or starting really short term.
Crawl, walk, run.
Yes.
Crawl, walk,
and
run.
run. Absolutely.
There's a mantra I tell all my students, and it's in the back of the bookmark. It's every day, in every way, I get better and better and better. My coach from 2002, I was very afraid to public speak, you know, and I had to get over it because of my upbringing. So that was one thing that he told me to say. So I passed that on to all the mentees that I work with. It's every day, in every way, I get better and better and better. Say that 7 times every day. Yeah, in the morning,
I
at
speak
night.
to myself in the mirror every morning. I speak to myself
back?
No, but it's true. I have to do that because I understand the power of I have to encourage myself.
You put it what you
because sometimes you won't have it. Yeah, because sometimes you won't have someone to encourage you. So it really begins with you encouraging yourself. And I know that's something that Mia does as well.
I definitely would say, like, be mindful of your mindset, because even, you know, the words that we speak, it comes from the thoughts that we think. So, you know, attitude determines approach, and approach determines success or failure. So, you know, when you, you know, are just having negative thoughts, I think that, you know, reflects a lot on, you know, how you go throughout the day. So, you know, you can change your mind, you know, it's your choice of what you think about yourself, of what you think about other people, of what you think about situations. So just to have a positive mindset and a growth mindset, I think that's, you know, important for your everyday life.
I think that is definitely very good advice, and I'm certainly going to use it every morning to try and get myself to the gym, which is my New Year's resolution. And I'm kind of falling down on, but Mia, Pervis, Jean, thank you guys for coming in. We certainly appreciate you guys, and we just want to remind everyone again that it's National Mentoring Month. So either as someone who wants to be a mentee, seeking someone out, or a mentor. So we just kind of leave you guys with that.